Hey y'all. Want to tell you a quick story as well as give you some updates. Okay, so as you have been aware in these making of videos, that we're getting closer and closer to the release of these candles and whatnot. So, um, I wanted to tell you all about a failure. And I'm not one who often uses the word failure. In fact, I more often than not say I either win or I learn something, I don't fail. Well, in this case, I just choked myself up. In this case, I really did learn something, but I can call this a failure. So prior to these candles, back in 2018, it's so strange to say back in 2018, it feels like 5,000 years ago. I was actively, heavily working on researching and analyzing a dating app for those of us who don't want to have children or have more children. You could only use it if you were a person who was interested in not genetically reproducing. Maybe you wanted to do foster care or adoption, or maybe you had no interest whatsoever, or you've already had children and now you're done with it. My kind of people. And I had a testing group, and I did a training for the app and everything, and some mock-ups and whatnot. And what we learned over a year and a half of analysis is that is a market that's extremely hard to attract. A lot of people are indecisive when it comes to reproduction, more than you would believe. And although there have always been people in history who don't want to have children, who don't want to reproduce and things of that sort, we're usually narrowed out pretty badly. So in creating this, what I learned was it's a hard market to market to. It's a hard audience to seek out because there's a lot of societal ridicule and judgment about those of us who don't want to have children. And the stress of it all just wasn't worth it. So, as badly as I would have loved for that to exist, and I've had to tinker around with a lot of other apps and whatnot to get firsthand experience of what was and wasn't working on those platforms. I never thought that information would correlate to working with these candles. Never thought in the least bit. So I should be receiving any day now the mock-up of the packaging. I just got a message from the company letting me know, hey, we got the updates. We're able to manufacture it the way that you want it. Please anticipate that in the mail. So I'm eager, little nervous, because the first mock-ups looked really good, but they weren't quite correct. I want a clean, simple black box with the logo on front of it. I had my consultation with a trademark lawyer. That's expensive, but at least I know the information now. I have a preference of who I would like to use. It's two women, one in Florida, one in Atlanta. One is white, one is black. Both of them have very competitive rates, amazing professionalism. I just have to simply decide who's going to get my coins when that time comes. But I say all that to say, maybe you have been sitting on the sidelines about something you've been wanting to work on, and you're like, I just don't know. Y'all, look at my skin. I'm getting ready later this month to start trying some black-owned skincare products. My skin was banging when I was in Korea, but it's changed here. And this is the same change that I had when I first moved to Houston. So like it is what it is. My skin does weird things here. And I consume weird things while I'm here. But now I can't even remember what I was saying. Yes, I do. Take chances, make mistakes, get messy. Take the magic school bus, Miss Frizzle, or Miss Frizzle, depending upon what kind of emphasis you want to put on it, approach to things. You literally have shit to lose. You have nothing to lose. If you are on the sidelines about developing something, don't freak yourself out about market saturation. Everything is oversaturated. Nothing is newly invented. And even those things that are newly invented, they've limitations to them in and of themselves. You are thinking about going back to school and you're like, it's going to take me like 4 years. Well, if you're, God willing, still alive, them 4 years was going to pass regardless. So, like, what are you holding out on? If you know that something you're doing, isn't working in the ways that you'd hoped, there's nothing wrong with ending one chapter to begin another. Do not squander your talents, your gifts, your interests for nothing. Failure is contextual. Yes, I could still be bent out of shape about the dating app not working. It's something that I would have benefited from, but I didn't have enough knowledge of the market and whatnot. I never worked in app development. I never worked in the dating scene, if you will. This retail, although it's candles, which I've never directly done, I have most certainly sold accessories, clothing, service packages, and everything in and of itself. There's going to be a learning curve here that I'm going to have to thrust myself into. But what do I have to lose? The candles either sell or they don't. I put this money up or I don't. I own this trademark and I can sell that later if I so choose or not. Shoot your shots in any and every angle this year. You have nothing to lose. Send that email, send that text message, create that portfolio, send that application off. Do what needs to be done to get closer to realizing your goals, and let nothing get in the way of that. Even if it's something like weight loss, which is me getting, y'all have watched me get dressed. This is by far the most of my body you've seen. Being able to get dressed so that I can go walk the mall for an hour before I have to punch the clock and do professional development training as a teacher. Like the train never stops moving, which is something you all hear my brother TJ say a lot to me when we have live streams and whatnot. By the way, an album a day comes back Monday, August 24th. And we will have a 3-day live, which you know is always fun to do on Podbean as well as right here on YouTube and Periscope now because it'll let me stream there. We'll do that September 4th. So keep your eyes out for that. Keep your ears open for podcast information. Season 4 is going to be exciting. We got a lot of disbanded groups on there. We're talking AA, Asian, AOA, After School. We're also going to give Boa her flowers with a special episode. So, and Super M, of course. Some of you heard that audio clip. So don't miss all of that. Stay encouraged, okay, Megawalas? Whatever it is that you're doing, even if it feels like it's not a lot, especially now during the pandemic, know that I'm rooting for you, all right? And I'll update you all with the next stuff very soon.